Next game of the week. Here we are, the SEC matchup everyone's been waiting for this entire season. Georgia travels to Tuscaloosa as 1.5 point favorites. Uh, a Georgia offense that has struggled a little bit, a defense that has looked like the best in the entire country. I mean, they haven't even given up a touchdown all season. Um, they haven't necessarily played any really good offenses,
Hey,
but
ask North Carolina State how good the Clemson offense is, okay?
no, that is true. That is true. But and then Alabama on the other side struggled a little bit with USF, but has had a lot of explosive plays. Jalen Milroe's taking care of the football in terms of, he hasn't thrown a lot of interceptions. He's been taking less sacks. You know, I think the wide receiver, they're still kind of mending themselves together, trying to figure out what they are as an identity offensively. Defensively, they've looked great. The secondary has looked better than I thought it was going to look. Granted, they haven't played a really effective offense either yet. I mean, if you want to count USF or Wisconsin, I don't know. They haven't looked good. Okay,
And
any of those teams.
no, and by the way, Western Kentucky with TJ Finley, not Caden Veldkamp. Caden Veldkamp
Yes,
is a dog.
Kane Camp is a dog. So, with that all being said, though, gosh, Georgia is averaging 80 penalty yards a game, and that was an issue last year, and why Alabama won that game. I think Alabama gets it done here. Georgia has not turned the ball over all year. They haven't really gotten anything going offensively. If they turn the ball over and commit those penalties, now Alabama's also had a lot of penalties as well this year, but I like Alabama at home here. I really do. Kalen DeBoer in his first year beats Kirby Smart. Here we go. Give me Alabama plus 1.5, and give me Alabama to win.
Listen, I'm actually gonna ride with you here. I did not expect to
Ooh,
be just a couple weeks ago, but listen, both these teams off a bye week, right? Do think there's an edge on Alabama that I don't know if Georgia has right now. Something about them feels off. Even in that Clemson game, I did not think they like thoroughly dominated Clemson. And the only thing that just terrifies me is Alabama's lack of ability to like string drives together consistently. And if you're Georgia or if you're Alabama, that could lead to like serious problems in terms of keeping your defense fresh, keeping the game close. But I just have a hard time imagining this game as a blowout, right? And I do think, on the other hand, too, like if you're gonna beat this Georgia defense, like it's got to be like schematically and explosive plays. And who else do you trust to do that than freaking Kalen DeBoer and
seriously.
honestly Jalen Milroe? Plus, by the way, I'll say this: is Ryan Williams the best playmaker in this football game in terms of
Yes.
like wide
Yeah.
receivers? Like,
Yeah,
which
he
is by
is.
the way freaking crazy. The guy is incredible, but I don't know. That's where I think Georgia, their passing attack too, is something that has concerned me, and it concerned me in the preseason too. I didn't see many alpha guys in that room, and it has not kind of struggled. It's
And
been
their
slow
run
off the
game hasn't
ground.
looked that strong. I thought their run game was gonna be awesome because they have a stable of backs and a basically
Yep.
five across all SEC players on the offensive line. And they haven't looked that good in the run game. So yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I I don't know what it is. I'm with you. I don't know what it is about Georgia where they just haven't looked. Now they did
It's a
week
gut
one,
thing.
kind of. I know you're like, hey, maybe they didn't thoroughly dominate Clemson the first half, all right, but the second half it kind of got out of hand, and they did make Clemson look very silly on the offensive
But
side
here's
of
the
the ball.
deal. If you come out like in that first half and you play that in Bryant Denny on Saturday, you're going to lose. Like you're going to lose to
Hmm.
Alabama. And you cannot tell me that this means something for Kalen DeBoer. He knows exactly how important this game is to Bama fans and to Kirby Smart on the other side there for Georgia. To me, it's a gut thing. It is a gut thing. I just don't know why. And by the way, like the crazy part is Alabama has not impressed me either. Like Wisconsin game, Van Dyke gets hurt. It could be a totally different football game. Now, I don't think it would be, but again, like USF really struggled. Western Kentucky, big plays. Like, how sustainable is that? I do think on a game to game basis, like, you never know, man. And that's where I think the playmakers Alabama has outweigh the playmakers Georgia has. And I do think having a week to get Proctor and Pritchett and those guys healthy they need him because they struggled mightily without those guys. And we've seen it in college football. Like if you get down to tackle like 3, 4, and 5, like nobody has depth anymore on the offensive line. Nobody does that they feel good about, or at least that they like really feel good about. They'll tell you they do, but we've seen it time and time again. I do think that bye week was more important, I think, arguably for Alabama than Georgia, and it's at home. By the way, it's just gonna feel weird. It's gonna be on ABC, and I love
Yeah, it's
Chris Fowler and Herbstreit, but and listen, I don't love Danielson, and
no, no.
I don't think he's very good, but I miss those times. I'm sure Herbstreit and ABC's and Fowler are super pumped to have this game because what a treat. By the way, what a treat. Here's what I'll say too, and this will be one of the last times that, well, maybe not. I can't promise that. The damn 12-team playoff, okay? Like this game would have so much urgency in a 14 playoff, right? Because of how like the lack of margin for error for either of these two teams, especially with teams like Texas and Ole Miss and Tennessee playing well. Like if one of these teams loses, that one loss could cost you the conference race, and there would be just so much, added pressure to it. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Yeah, I agree. And now Alabama does play Tennessee, and I believe does Georgia also play Tennessee? But Georgia
Georgia
plays
got
Texas.
Texas,
Yeah, it would be.
and they play Tennessee and Ole Miss,
Yeah, that's a gauntlet of a schedule for Georgia. Not gonna
and
lie.
and Bama, Texas, Ole Miss, all on the road.
Jeez, that's crazy. But yeah, give me Bama.